Hello and welcome to Running Behind. I'm Joey Metzger, your host and guide and captain of the HMS Slow Running. 2.7 million likes. Just let that sink in for a minute. I mean, I'm happy with a handful of views, a couple of likes, but my guest today takes that to a whole new level. Lindsay Teague, or Linz, or Run This Life as she's known on social media, has a huge following, and with good reason. The best part, though, is that she doesn't make all those posts for the attention. She does it because she genuinely loves running. She loves sharing about it, and she believes that fitness should come from a place of celebration. It's exactly that positive attitude and dedication that has led her to complete multiple 100-mile races. In this conversation, we get to know Linz, how she got started running, and what inspires and drives her to push for more. Hey, if this chat were a run, it'd be one of those great runs in the forest, finding new trails and discovering amazing sights, all while getting a good workout. So, if you're headed out for that great run, grab your phone to take a shot or two for Instagram, and just one poll, because it's time to hit the trail. How the hell are you? How is it moving? Oh my God.
Oy vey.
I saw your post and I'm just like, I think it's the worst thing I've ever done in my life is move. And my wife and I, we renovated our kitchen last year. And part of it was we like our house. We love our neighborhood. We're in the heart of South Minneapolis here. We've been here for like 20 years. We love it. And we didn't like the kitchen though. We're like, well, we could move. And we're like, no, let's just take out the retirement. We're not moving. Moving sucks. Are you all done? Are you moved in?
I never want to move again, and I will have to move again, but I never want to.
Oh.
I'm pretty much moved in. Okay. I still have, what's funny is everything's unpacked except for my stuff. All the kids' rooms are unpacked and decorated. The kitchen is unpacked. The living room is unpacked. My stuff's still in boxes. I'll get to it.
Did you? Oh God! Did you get any help? Did you hire movers? Was it just you?
So I'm very much a DIY kind of person in baseline. I did hire movers for like the big, like my bed and my dresser.
Yep.
But like everything else, the boxes, it was I rented a 20-foot U-Haul, and me and my 3 daughters that are 9, 11, and 13. And one of my daughters, my 13-year-old daughter's best friend, who's like my adopted daughter.
Got it.
Came over and we loaded and unloaded the truck 3 times, which was just a circus because where I'm moving is only like 4 miles from where I used to live.
Yeah.
But I was the only person who could drive. So I would have to drive my Toyota Corolla to the new house, drop off all the children, drive back, get the truck, drive the truck, unload the truck, drive the truck, go get the kids. So everything was like a 7-step process the entire day.
Oh no.
And then the second day, it was just me and my daughter's best friend. My daughters, the 3 of them had to go to their dad's house. And so it was just me, and my daughter's best friend volunteered to stay and help. And it was just me and her. And we hung curtains. And
that's why she's adopted daughter number 4.
That is why she has been at this house just as much as my daughters have.
And I think I saw you ran to get the truck. You're such a dedicated runner. You were like, screw it, I'm going to run, commute, and go get the truck.
Yeah. Well, and it was 2 birds, 1 stone. I was going crazy because I am very type B. But when it comes to my running, if I go more than like a day or 2 without running, I don't like it. I got to run. And then I'm looking at my plate and I'm like, so much to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I could just run to go get the U-Haul, which it only was 3.5 miles away. But I was like, I haven't had like a decent run in days. So I got up early enough so that I could kind of out and back long run it and end it there. But yeah, I did. I ran to go get my U-Haul.
Love it. And we're going to talk about your running and your love of running. And you'll get to know a little bit about me. I'm sure you haven't had a chance to listen to any pods because you've been busy moving and you have a busy life.
Busy.
I've gotten way ahead of myself. This is how I usually start these things, Lindsay. I'm a former actor and we always started scenes right in the middle. You never start a scene like begin. It's always just in the middle of a conversation, so that's how I start these. For my audience, I have the very popular Lindsay Teague. Is it Teague?
It is Teague, like league with a T.
Like League with a T. You may know her on TikTok or Instagram as Lynn's Run This Life. She's got like a zillion followers. We're going to talk about that. I have it in my notes. The way I like to start these, Lindsay, is with asking my guests one word to describe themselves. See, should have done your homework. As a runner. Give me one word that describes you, Lindsay, as a runner.
Free.
Free. Love it. I have not gotten free. That's a good one. Now, one word that describes you as Lindsay, the person. Sometimes it's the same word. Sometimes it is completely different.
Um, hmm. I would probably say chaotic.
That's acceptable. There are no wrong answers here. You got to
I
go
think
with your
that's
gut.
probably, yeah, that's gonna be my gut response,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
you got to go with your gut. I love it. I start these things up. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm Joey Metzger. The podcast is running behind because I am an old, slow as AF
Oh,
runner.
but I love it.
But I know, right? And I
Hmm.
had a friend who did a podcast years ago called Chasing Cutoffs, Ben Mead. He got busy with life. He stopped doing that. And so I was craving this. And I hadn't found some of the podcasts. There is many podcasts out there that are deal with back of the pack and kind of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. But I was like, dude, I'm an actor who's craving like some creative outlets, and we'll talk about your creative outlets. I think your social platforms are that for you, but I'm going to ask you if we got all kinds of questions about that. So for me, this is a creative outlet, and I get to talk to people. And sometimes I talk to really fast, famous people, but a lot of times I talk to people that are just like figuring out, just normal people doing crazy shit. And you've got Lindsay, normally I know my guests or I do a lot of research. I like literally did like an hour and a half today, a deep dive on who is Lindsay Teague, runs this life. And I was like, oh my God, there is so much stuff out there, so much great stuff. So I'll try to keep this as brief as possible because I'm sure you're tired from moving, but it's just fascinating. I'm fascinated with all these things you have to say and everything you're doing.
Well, thank you.
I'm going to start at the beginning. As a kid, I was a nerd. I was in band. I was on the chess team. There was a physics team, Lindsay, in my high school. If you can imagine,
Really?
that's the nerd level I was at. I was in theater, band, physics, chess. Yeah. So I did not do sports. I did one sophomore year in track. I was slow as shit. They stuck
Hmm.
me in the 2 mile race. I came in last every single race except one. When a couple schools canceled, I came in third. I don't know how that happened, but I was also like third from last. So there you go, DFL podium, even when I came in third. So I like to ask my guests, as a youth, did you do sports as a youth? You're obviously now an adult and you've got kids of your own. You're very active, very athletic. Are you more athletic now? What did you do as a kid for athletics, or were you very sporty and athletic as a youth?
I am a million times more athletic than I am now. As a kid, I played soccer sixth and seventh and eighth grade. I was not the strongest player on the team, but I definitely loved to play. And that was the thing is it was a co-ed team, but I was one of three girls in the entire league. Um, and I was not that great because I was playing with all guys, but I loved it so much. So I just kept showing up. Outside of that, I did marching band. I played trumpet. I was a theater kid. I did drama club, loved theater. I was very arts. I did art club. Not really much of an athlete. I was active. I mean, I always played outside and rode my bike, and we went swimming at the lake all summer
Yeah.
long. And I was a very active kid, but I wasn't an athlete. It wasn't until I was 30, 31 that I really dedicated myself to running. I had done a half marathon here and there, couldn't really lock into it, didn't really feel good about it in my 20s, but in my 30s, that's when I really kind of clung to it, and I haven't been able to let it go.
Wow. I've said this many times. I didn't actively start running like you did till I turned 50. I'm 58 now, so I'm still, and I'm way behind you. I'm way behind you. You've already done a ton more than I have, but it's just funny to me how some of us, we just don't find these things till we
Mm-mm.
kind of figure our shit out or something happens, or I have a lot of friends who've gone through trauma or found their way to sobriety, and the running kind of comes through that. So it's so interesting to me how we find running as
Yeah,
adults.
running has definitely been something that was I desired to be able to do, but I really thought it was one of those things that you were born with, like you could or you could not do it. It was like in my 20s, I was like, gosh, running hurts. I wish I could be a runner, but it hurts me. I can't do it. I just can't. And that's not true.
Yeah.
I feel like for a lot of people, it's not that you can or you cannot. You can. You just have to put your ego aside and slow down a little bit and be okay with going slow and being at the back of the pack and being okay with hurting for a little bit. That's
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
And then it finally starts becoming that thing. You're like, oh, I see now. I see why people love running.
Yeah.
And then you just keep coming back.
Yeah. So many people. I'm in love with Tommy Ribs. I don't know if you know Tommy Ribs. Tommy Ribs
Yes, I do. His story is
got his
amazing.
shirt on.
His story is,
Yeah, I
oh
absolutely
my gosh.
love him, and he says humans are born to run. We're literally, our bodies are constructed to run, and he has a hard time
Hmm.
running now. He can only run in little
Yeah.
spurts because of everything he's gone through. And the other thing I was going to say too is, and I think you may know some of these folks from the Everyday Podcast or the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network, Jason Bahamundi.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes. So their
Yes. I
motto
do know him.
is everybody and every body belongs at a
Hmm.
start line. And so it's kind of the same philosophy to me. I absolutely love that. So
Yes.
what triggered you though to start, Lindsay? What was it? Was there an event? Was there something happening in your life that made you go, okay,
So,
screw it. I'm going to
two
start
things.
trying.
Yeah. Two things. My 30th birthday, there was something in me that just clicked that I was definitely in a very low place, self-esteem wise. I didn't like my body. I didn't like how I felt. I didn't recognize myself. My youngest daughter was 2. I had just kind of fallen off into this, just, I don't even know what to call it, just bad spot of just body image and how I felt after having kids. And so my 30th birthday, I blew up my birthday candles and literally made the wish to myself and said it in my head that this year I'm going to change. I'm 30 years old. This year I'm going to change. And I did. I got better about my eating. I lost like 95 pounds. I started doing yoga and walking and working out. And even still, I wasn't really running a lot. I was like training for a half marathon, but running was not, at that point, my Instagram was actually called That Lotus Life. It wasn't even Run This Life. It was all about yoga
Okay.
and just being able to move my body and appreciate the body I had and what it could do, period. Like
Yeah.
learning to just love my body and not hate it as much, even if it was 90 pounds overweight. And like the more I loved my body at whatever stage it was in, the more I actually took care of it and started seeing myself like get healthier.
Yeah.
And then I became a nurse in the ER during COVID. Right before COVID hit, I was working in an ER, and I remember when things started shutting down. I went for a run, and I came home, and I said, "We don't know a lot about this disease and what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen in the ER. We don't even have really reliable tests for this disease
Yeah.
at that point. But I'm going to use running as my litmus paper. So long as I can run, I'm okay." And I told myself that. So long as I can run, I know I'm okay. I know I'm okay. I know I'm not sick. And I, at that point, started running 3 or 4 times a week. And it was my way. I wanted just the fresh air. It was my way of coping with the things that I was having to see and deal with in the ER. I would get off of a shift and go to bed and wake up, and I was actually craving that. I wanted to be outside. I wanted to
Yeah.
be outside. It wasn't so much oh, I need to go get my 5 miles in. It was really, I want that fresh air. I need to get outside. I need to breathe. I get to breathe. I'm
Yeah.
seeing people not being able to breathe anymore, and I get to breathe.
Yeah.
And I think that was honestly, as far as my running goes, if one good thing came out of COVID, it's that it really, it it turned something on for me, and that's how I live my life now. Is as long as I can run, I know I'm okay, and
Yeah.
that's just how I live now.
It's well, I say funny, in quotes, but during COVID, a lot of people turned to running as their social activity because you couldn't do
Hmm.
anything. You couldn't meet with people,
Hmm.
couldn't go anywhere. So it became this social activity. I think a lot of people picked it up then. I do want to ask you about, and I have a sister who was a nurse. I think that's such an admirable profession, and I know you guys work your butts off. I watched The Pit. I know
That
you
is the
guys.
most realistic medical show
Okay,
ever, by the way.
I
That
have.
is,
We're going to talk about that at the end. I have it in my notes. Have you watched The Pit? But what was that like, Lindsay, being a nurse at the start of COVID? Did you like lose your mind? Was it crazy? Were you scared? What was
I
that
was
like
very
being a
scared.
nurse?
I was very scared. I was scared for my kids. I was scared. I mean, I was seeing people come in unlike I'd ever seen before who were like normal 30, 40, 50-year-old adults coming in unable to breathe. And I was seeing them not make it out of the hospital often. And that, I mean, here we are, it's 2026. I don't work in the ER anymore. I left
Yeah.
the ER back in 2021. At the end of, I did 2 years of COVID, and that was all I could do. I went back to my old job, which is pediatric ICU, which, if I'm jumping from COVID to PICU, I should say something. Um, it altered my brain chemistry. It did for
Wow.
the long haul. I definitely think about things differently and view things differently. And
Yeah.
we definitely just get this one life, and it's short, and it could be, don't take your next breath for granted. Um,
Wow.
it altered me. It changed a lot of my personality and my decision making and my
Wow.
desires to be outside because the world was shutting down and outside was all we had. Get outside.
Yeah. Do you? I'm As you'll learn from me, I get totally off topic. I know you love running,
You're
and I
fine.
promise to talk some running stuff too. But do you like? I'm so interested in like when you hear about the Ebola virus and the hantavirus being coming from the past you did and seeing what you saw. Do you get worried about those things, or do you know enough to know? Oh, that's not going to be like this, or how do you feel about some of that stuff? Because I just don't
Um,
know enough to know.
I it does make me antsy. I know that Ebola back in 2013 or 2015, it did rear its head, and we did the whole training at the hospital, how to don and doff PPE and things like that for Ebola, and if there was going to be an Ebola crisis and all of that. And then nothing ever really came of that. So of course, when COVID rolled around at the beginning, we were all like, ha ha ha, it's going to be like Ebola. And then it wasn't. It was very much real. So now here we are, and it's okay, here's Ebola again,
Yeah.
and here's hantavirus, and I, I'm not gonna lie. My friends and I who work in the ER, we've talked about it. I'm not doing that again.
Okay.
There's no way I could work in another. I'm out.
So
I'm out. I'm not.
you're telling me and my 65 listeners we need to take this shit seriously, right?
We should always take it seriously until it's not. I'm
Yeah,
not. I'm the things
that
that
makes sense.
happened during COVID is it's unreal. It's unreal. The
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole nother episode. We could talk for 3 hours about COVID if you want to.
I
I
will
just
I will schedule the COVID episode post-mortem discussion with Lindsay.
post-mortem.
Yeah. By the way, no pun intended. By the way, Lindsay, my sister Tony, who was a nurse, she was a pediatric ICU nurse. So there you go.
It's That's what I did first, and then I left pediatric ICU after being a PICU nurse for 10 years to go to the ER because I wanted a change of scenery. And then COVID hit 6 months later, hung out for 2 years, and I said, nope,
No.
put me back in the PICU.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy. My sister now, she's retired. I mean, her and her husband live in Syracuse and he's a professor out there, but she now does nurse honor guard at funerals for nurses. Have you ever heard of this?
Wow,
I'm going to
no.
connect you with my sister Tony. I'm
Okay,
going to send her
let's do
your
it.
Instagram stuff and Facebook stuff and she can
Yeah,
connect with you. But she now
yeah.
does, Lindsay, it is so powerful. So at funerals for nurses, all these nurses show up in their uniforms as honor guard and like she sends pictures and I just cry. I just get chills. It's
Wow.
so amazing. Just the brotherhood, sisterhood of that
Yeah.
community. Really powerful. Okay. All right. Way off track. So, but let's get back on track. So, being a nurse, you're starting to run. You became a nurse in 2020.
hmm
How nursing is like very intensive. How are you finding time to do these runs being a nurse and a
Um,
mom?
I get that question a lot. A lot of people are like, I can't run because I don't have the time. And I don't like to say, and I never will say that we all have the same 24 hours in a day because no, we don't. It's just, it's how we all prioritize our days and what we can make work. And it's about being flexible and thinking ahead for me. Every week is different. My shifts are different every week. So I really do truly have to think ahead as far as like, okay, what day this week am I going to get a long run and where am I going to put it? And I stick to that. I keep those promises to myself. If I'm like, hey, Thursday's the only day that I can squeeze in a long run, we're running long on Thursday. That's what we have to do. The days that I work, I do really try hard to be gracious with my schedule and listen to my body on those days. So if I work 3 nights in a row, I know that that first night I'm going to be able to get a good run in before work because I'm still energized. I'm still alive. And so I'll sleep in the morning. I'll get up. I'll go for a run in the afternoon at like 3 o'clock before I have to leave for work at 5. I'll get in maybe a 3 or 4 miler, but I'll make it a good one. I will then go to work. I'll be up for 12 hours. I have an hour and a half drive. I get home. I go right to bed. I sleep for 4 or 5 hours. I get up. If on that second day I'm like, I'm feeling it, I might have time for like 30 minutes. I'll put on my weighted vest. I'll go do some hills and make that count because I only have this much time, but I can maximize the effort. Come back, I get the shower, get in the car, go back to work. I work my 12 hours. I come home, hour and a half later, I sleep. On day 3, if I wake up and I feel like an absolute zombie, guess what? Rest day. I knew I needed a rest day. This is gonna be my rest day, even though I'm still going to work. If I feel froggy during work on my rest day, I'll do the stairs at work, and it's like 30 flights of stairs all the way up and down. It takes me 15 minutes, but it's something. If I'm tired, I'm tired. I don't do anything. Um, but I try to really, on my days off, I'm like, my kids are in school. That helps. I don't have young children, I have school age children. So I maximize the time that they're in school. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go for a run. Or sometimes it's I get them in the bed, I go for a run at night. I've definitely done some ultra training where I've run for 3 or 4 hours and I go and I set out at 10 or 11 o'clock at night and I run till 2 o'clock in the morning, run circles around the neighborhood. Um, you just you have to be flexible. No, I'm not someone who can be like, yep, I get my 5 miles in every day at 5 a.m. before work. No, I have to pivot.
You are making me feel, number one, feel bad because I'm not doing enough because that's insane. But also at the same time, you're very practical about it too, where you're just like,
Yeah.
I mean, you have the right attitude where it's like you push hard, you do as much as you can, but at the same point, you're like, hey, I need rest. I need rest. My body needs rest. I got to watch the kids or whatever. So that is incredible. So let's go back 20, whatever it is, 2020, whenever you start running early, 2020s or something. You are running. Do you immediately find out about ultra marathons and
Mm-mm,
trail races? Tell me that story,
mm-mm.
Lindsay, how you find out about ultra marathons
It's
and
actually one of my
trail
favorite
races.
stories. It's a short little cute story, but I had started running. Like I said, in 2019, that's when I turned 30. I lost my weight. I was training for a half marathon. I ran my half marathon, and then of course I finished, and I see the marathoners getting their medals, and I'm like, oh, I think I can do that. And so then my sister and I, all throughout 2020, we like trained for this marathon. Well, then of course everything shut down. There was no marathon in 2020. I got COVID in 2020, in September 2020, or 2020. I got COVID pneumonia. It took me out. I was out of running for probably a month. I had to start from scratch. I've been training for marathon all year long, out, done. I had to start from scratch, the whole nine. Finally ran my marathon in March of 2021. I became a marathoner. March 13th, 2021. I remember the day. And I think it was April that year, I started training a new nurse in the ER. She's older than me, like a second career kind of thing. But I knew that she was a runner. They told me before she started, hey, you're going to be training somebody. She's a runner. You guys will have a lot in common. Her name is Jen, and she starts working with me. And of course, I was a fresh marathoner. So I'm telling everybody with ear holes, like, hey, I just ran a marathon. Hey, I just ran a marathon. And I knew she was a runner. And so I was like, hey, so I heard you're a runner. I just ran a marathon And she was like, "Oh, I used to run marathons." And and at first I was like, "Oh gosh, like she's been injured." Like I was like, "Jen, what used to? Why don't you run marathons anymore? What happened?" And she was like, "Oh no, I do ultras now." And that's the first time I ever heard about an ultra marathon. I said, "Ultra? What's an ultra?" And she's like, "Oh, like anything longer than a marathon, like a 50K or a 50 miler or a 100K." And every distance she said, my jaw just got like, it just dropped more and more. And she was like, "Oh, and I'm training for my first 100 miler." And I was 100 miles. Like, you just take like a week off work and do that over a week? Or like, how are you doing 100 miles? She said, "No, you start and you run 100 miles and then you finish." She's like, "Hopefully I can do it in like 26, 27 hours." I said, "You're running 100 miles nonstop?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "No, I will never do that. That is insane. You're crazy. I'm never doing that." That was in 2021. In 2023, I full send it on a 50 miler. I never even did a 50K. I went from marathons to 50 miler trail race 2 years after that conversation. And I was hooked. I've I've done 21 ultra marathons in 2 years.
Oh my God.
21.
Oh
I've
my
done three
God.
100s. I've done 550s. I've done 100K. I've done like 12 or 13 50Ks, all since April 2023.
Oh my God. That's crazy. You just skipped the 50K. You went right to the 50 miler. Boom.
Yeah.
And this is all within the last, what do you say, 2 to 3 years? All these ultra marathons?
I started in
Yeah.
2023. So yeah, 3 years, 21 ultra marathons in 3 years.
Barely 3 years. That is crazy. I wrote down some of yours. You've done three 100 milers. You've attempted
Four
four.
total. I had one
Okay.
DNF.
All right. This is what I like to do. This was what Ben Me did in Chasing Cutoffs. We talk about the blow by blow of these races. So I want to hear
Hmm.
about the first one that you didn't finish, the DNF. Which one was that, Lindsay? Was
So
that
do you want to know my first 100 DNF or my first ultra DNF? Because I have two
I
DNFs.
want to hear them all. This
Oh,
is
okay.
this is running behind. We have to hear, the stories where you don't finish, you come in dead last. This is what this podcast is
My
about.
My first ever DNF was there's a race here in Georgia called the H9 Dragon. And this same friend, her name is Jen, who talked me into ultras, suckered me into this race. I didn't do my homework. I was like, "Oh, a run in August in Georgia and in the Georgia mountains? Sure, let's do it. That sounds so much fun." At this point, I had run three 50Ks and one 50 miler. That's it. So I'm still relatively novice at this whole thing. You learn a lot each race, but I still had
Yeah.
not figured out all the kinks. So yeah, let's do it. A week before the race, I think to myself, I wonder what the elevation gain is. It's 15,000 feet. I looked up her Strava and it said 15,000 feet. And I texted her and I said, "Please tell me your Strava is wrong. Where do you find 15,000 feet of gain in Georgia?" She's like, "Oh, you go up and over this mountain like multiple times." I'm not trained. I'm not trained for hills or elevation. I was like, this is why this 50-mile race has a 20-hour cutoff. I knew there was a catch for this 20-hour cutoff for a 50-mile race. We started the race. We made every single cutoff until mile 47.
Oh no.
At mile 47, we missed the cutoff by like 20 minutes. It was 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I was exhausted. We had been at this for 19 hours. And we still it's really a 56-mile race, let's be honest here, because that's how ultras are. And we're at the aid station and they've cut us, but she's done this race 5 times before and she's very good friends with the race director and all the volunteers. And so she looks at them and she goes, "We're finishing anyways." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, let's go. We're finishing anyways." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so tired." So here it is now, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I've still got 9 miles to go on this ultra that I'm going to finish in the dark. And I'm not getting a buckle at the end. And it is a DNF. It's a DNF. But we finished it. I did finish that race. And the very next year, last August, I went back and I have my plaque for it. I finished it. I got my redemption. But that DNF, that one hurt. That one, I had never experienced a DNF before. I blindly went into these races with, "Yeah, I'll finish." No, you won't always finish on time. That's half the fun. That's half the challenge is you might not finish, and that's kind of why we do this because it's hard.
Yeah, that first one
So
probably stung a little bit though, huh?
it hit my ego. It my ego needed it
Yeah.
actually. I needed a little taste of, yeah, this is why it's hard.
Yeah, I had my
So,
first two, and I'm very slow. So when I look at races, Lindsay, the first two things I look at is the elevation gain. How much do I have to climb? And secondly, what's the cutoff? And
oh,
can
that's
I,
what I look at now. It's the elevation gain every
yeah,
time now.
yep, the cutoff and the elevation gain. And last year I had my first two DNFs. One was a race where it was supposed to be 34 miles, and at mile 15, my left knee literally exploded, like all the blood vessels. And I ended up
Oh my
going to
God.
the orthopedic place here in the Twin Cities the next day, and they're like, structurally it's fine. You just, I don't know if it was burst of sac or something. It just exploded. They're like, it's nothing structural. I'm like, okay, well, I couldn't hardly move.
Okay.
So that was my first. The second was at Mammoth Trail Fest out in California
Hmm.
on the 50K out there. Halfway through, you climb Mount Mammoth, and the cutoff at the top of the mountain, I missed by 12 minutes. And so the rest of it, Lindsay, was down
12
frickin' hill. And I
minutes.
told my wife was out there with me, and we brought our dog. And I was like, I've never felt this good. I literally took my time the first half because I was filming, I was chatting, I was meeting people.
Hmm.
It was a great time.
Yep.
It was a big party. And then I climbed that frickin' 11,000 foot mountain. And I got so tired climbing it. I was like, I should have pushed it. Missed it by
Yeah.
12 minutes. And
Yeah.
so I'm going back this year. My wife's going
Good.
with me. I'm going to do all three races. I'm doing the vertical ascent. I'm going to do the 50K, and then the next day the 26K. I'm going to push myself.
Yeah.
So
Good.
I'm bound to finish one of
Oh,
them, right?
redemption though, redemption feels so good because that's what my second DNF is also. I've redeemed it. That's what I get
Yep.
DNF. I go back to redeem
Yep.
it. My my first ever 100-mile attempt, the
Yeah.
race got canceled. It was the Yeti 100,
That was the
and
Yeti.
Hurricane Helene canceled it. We
Oh,
got all the way there, and the day before the race, there's
wow.
all that flooding in Abington, and they canceled the race.
Okay.
So I made it almost to the start line, canceled. So then 6 months later, I found this race, the Viper 100 in Memphis. I maintained my training for 6 more months, showed up to Viper, generational flooding, 11 inches of rain in 4 days. The course that was a 33-mile trail loop had been cut and cut and cut and cut to the point, because it was also a 200-mile race. So by the time the 100-milers started, it was 6 miles on pavement. That's it. That was all that
What?
was left oh, yes.
Oh,
We
God.
found out race morning that the race was not canceled, but the course was now a 10K on pavement. And when I tell you my heart broke that morning before I even started the race, something in me was like, "Ah, I didn't have the heart. I didn't, it's not a trail race. It's not what I came to run. It's not, my heart wasn't in it. I was very deflated because I was like, now this is the second 100-mile start line I've gotten to where it's like, who knew the hardest part of running a 100-mile race is just starting? Like it took me forever to even get a decent start. We started, me and my friends that I met on TikTok, and we started it. And after doing um, 10, 11 loops on pavement, I needed to do 17 to finish.
Oh, my God.
I was done. I was done.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't have any injuries really. My right foot was really, there was a hot spot in my right foot that was kind of concerning. And I had bigger races throughout the year, and I knew that I didn't have the heart for this one. So why am I going to take myself out for the entire year over no? So I called it. It devastated me. I sobbed and cried, and I just was so upset that here I am again. Still, I did not get my buckle. All I've wanted since I did my first ever ultra. I did that 50-miler, and I saw the hundreds getting their buckle. I wanted a 100-mile finish since April 2023. I wanted a 100-mile finish, and I did not get one until September 2025 was when I finally got my 100-mile finish.
And what
And I went back.
race? What race was that?
The Yeti 100. So the one
Okay.
that got canceled from Hurricane Helene in September
All right.
2024. I went back and I did it, and I got my buckle. And then in March, I went back and did the Memphis one and got my buckle for that one too. So
Okay, let's go back to your first one when you complete it. That's the Yeti 100, the one that got canceled the year before.
Yes.
How did it? So you're doing the training, and I wrote down you've got a coach here.
Hmm.
We'll talk about him in a little bit. But when you're doing the training and you're doing the race, did you have like a full plan of here's the pace I need to go? Are you like a planner where you're like, because I know people that, they're like, literally, this is the pace I have to run. A friend of mine did Cocodona last year and he had the spreadsheet and it was like, I have to run 16.5 or walk, this pace, this section to this section. And my buddy Ben Mead, who was his crew and pacer, was like, just throw that shit away. You just need to move. Are you a planner with
No.
details on pacing, or are you just like go on feel? And how did it?
So the words I gave you were free and chaotic. That's because
Yeah.
I'm not. There is no pacing chart. There is no. I mean, I will say as I'm running, I play the numbers game constantly, and I actually enjoy it. It gives me a distraction as I'm running. I'm playing the numbers game. Okay, if I maintain this pace for X amount of miles, then I'm going to finish about this time. If I maintain this, and I'm constantly running numbers. Um, Doing Yeti was a 30-hour cutoff, which sounds great on paper. Because you're like, oh, that's just 4 miles an hour. It's or 3 miles an
Mm,
hour. No, I finished that race in 29 and a half hours. I finished it with 30 minutes to spare. That's it.
what?
Um, yeah, it was
Wow.
tough. So the first 50 miles, I actually ran it with my coach. He's one of my friends. He's a friend first, then a coach. We ran it together and we were about 40, 45 miles into it. And he was like, there's no way I'm going to make this cutoff. I'm not going to make this cutoff. I feel like I'm slowing you down. Do you think you can make this cutoff? And I said, yes, I do. He said, you think you can finish this race? And I said, yes, I do. So he dropped.
Okay.
And at mile 50, I needed to make it back 16 miles essentially. So back to mile 66. And I had something like 3 hours to do it. It was something very tight. In the sense that miles 50 to 66, I was running 11-minute miles. Yes, I
Oh my
ran
God.
11-minute miles, most of that chunk, in order to make that cutoff to keep me in the race. And then once I made that cutoff, then it was just death marching to the finish.
Okay.
But I knew numbers game. I was
Yeah.
like, if I have a chance at all at finishing this race, I'm going to have to really push to get to this cutoff,
Okay.
and then I can. And so that's what I did.
So you got to that cutoff, and then with smooth, you were just kind of walking it in from there.
Oh, but it was miserable. I paid for it. I paid for that, like run, 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 run as hard as I did for those 16 miles. I had blisters on the balls of my feet that were, I mean, they were those deep, like deep tissue ones that I felt like I was walking on glass. And then all of a sudden I took that last step and I could feel it. It was like a water balloon in my foot popped. Um, I've never felt anything like that. That
Mm.
was it. One of them was at mile 73, and the other one was like mile 81 or 82. I just kept marching to finish. And then once I got to mile 90, I ran a little bit. And then I ran into the finish, but that was it. Those last 30 miles, it was a lot of death marching.
How emotional were you when you finished that, and when did those emotions start? Because I've only ever accomplished like a 33-mile race, but I know my mom had passed away the year before, and so I was dealing with a lot of stuff, and it was very emotional for me. And I know it can be for some people. It's just kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah, I finished it. But
No, it's
what was
every
that like
single
for
race
you?
is emotional for me. I'm a very emotional person anyways. No, this 100 miler, um, I would say all the way through until mile 63, I was all business because I was like, I just got to make these cutoffs. And then at mile 63, the girl that was pacing me, she pointed out, she was like, this is this is the furthest you've ever gone because I had DNF'd at 100K. She was like, this is a distance PR. You can quit right now. And this is a distance PR. And every single time we would hit another mile, that's what she would say. What mile are we at? That's a PR. What mile are we at? That's PR. And then, you get through the night, get through the day, you really feel heavy and tired. And you do reach a point where you're like, I just want to be done. And it wasn't until mile 97, I had forgotten this aid station existed. It was an out and back that I had to do 3 times essentially. And I forgot this aid station, it's called White Top, even existed. And it was a 5K from the finish line. And I'm coming down the hill, and I have now my pacer is Dan, who's my coach
Yeah.
and my friend who had dropped earlier.
Yeah.
He's with me now. It's like I'm coming in, and I looked down and I was like, is that White Top? And he said, yeah. I sobbed. I just started sobbing uncontrollably, snot bubbles, dry heat, just convulsing. And it was because I knew I'd done it. I knew there was nothing that was going to stop me from 97 to 100. So I knew I got to White Top. All I had to do was 3 miles, and I had like 2 hours to do it. I'd done it. I just needed to get to the finish line. It was incredibly emotional for me. It was something that I had been working towards for 2 years. It was something that it definitely was a goal that I felt like was achievable but unattainable for so long, and to prove to myself that even though there were times during that race that it looked dicey, I wasn't going to make the cutoff, that I still was able to pull it out of myself to get there. Finishing that finish line and being handed that buckle was one of the most pivotal moments, actually, I would think, of my like it. I'm not the same person I was when I started that race. I'm just not. And that's why I love these races, is even the 50Ks, they can change you.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. Let's fast forward to this year, 2026. You go back, get redemption at the Viper.
I do.
And this was one of the first posts of you I saw. I told you my wife's cousin, Virginia Welly, who's, by the way, hiking the what is the Pacific Crest Trail right now?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Her husband is Jake Welly, and he's the one that brought you to my attention. So Jake's probably listening. He's one of my 65 loyal listeners. So Jake, you're welcome. I have her on.
Hi, Jake.
So I started watching your stuff, and I saw you did the Viper, and then Lindsay, was it 2 weeks later you did another frickin' 100-mile race? What?
Yep, that happened.
Tell me, how did you plan that? How did that come about?
Kinda. Okay, so I immediately after I DNF'd Viper last year, we all agreed we were going to go back and get redemption. So we signed up for it immediately when it opened. So I signed up for it. Then, like a couple weeks later, I am a part of the Revolution Running ultra running team. It's here in Georgia. It's like a local ultra running crew. I am one of their like race team members for the year, and I won a free entry to Bootlegger 100. And I don't control the race calendar. I can't help that my free race is 2 weeks after my already registered race. I'm not going to give up the shot, right? You shoot your shot. So I knew last year, May 3rd or 4th, I was running one of Revolution Running's 50Ks, and I saw the race director at the race, and I knew then, because I told him, I was like, I'm coming for Bootlegger, but just know I am registered for Viper. And so when I see you, I'm probably not going to finish, but I'm going to show up. And if I don't finish, I'm going to volunteer, I'm going to crew, I'm going to make a whole big thing about it, but I'm going to show up and see what happens. I want to see what I can do. And that was a year ago. That was a year before the race. I spent the last 10 months like training for Viper and training to run 100. And I know what 100 is now. I've done one. I know how hard it is. Yeah. I know what I'm getting into, kinda. My friend Jen, who got me into ultras, she's done 11 100-mile races. And even she told me, you're an idiot. She's like, I think 2 back-to-back 100s is harder than doing a 200. And I was like, I want to see what I think I can do it. And honestly, if I can't do it, I don't even think it's going to be that big of a hit, because like who's going to be like, oh, you loser, you couldn't do 2 100s in 2 weeks. Let me see you do it. So I really went into it with the mindset of, see what happens. Let's see what happens. And what people don't know, what I haven't really shared on social media, what I haven't really, gone into detail about, my close friends, they know, my running friends know. I finished the Viper 100. I came home, and in those 2 weeks between Viper 100 and Bootlegger 100, I went through a divorce. I asked for a divorce between the two races. I don't know why. That felt like the right time to flip my life upside down.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so I ran two back-to-back 100s, and it wasn't even the hardest thing I did that month.
Oh my God.
Um, but I think Bootlegger, the second 100, I think one of the reasons I finished it was because I needed it.
Yeah.
I needed, I had that going on in my personal
Yeah.
life, and there's just something about being able to disconnect and just be out there. And so there wasn't actually very many moments of that second 100 that I even wished I wasn't out there.
Yeah. Because you
No.
were going away from other things that you didn't want to be dealing with. Wow, I did not know that. That's even more
A lot
insane.
of people don't know
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
that's even. I'm sorry to hear that, but
No, it's actually when I say that 100 milers in these races, they can change, they have the potential to change you.
yeah,
It was a long time coming. It needed to happen, and these races over time, they just build in you the confidence and
yeah.
the courage and the desire to, choose your journey. And I finally had the courage and the desire to choose my journey.
There you go.
So
Wow. I mentioned earlier, so you did the Run Try Mag article with my buddy Jason
yes,
Bahamundi.
that was a
How
long time ago.
was 20? I looked it up. It was February of 2024.
Yep,
So,
I was
yep,
training for Yeti 100.
training for Yeti. How did he find you? Did you find him? How did you guys connect?
I think he found me.
Okay.
I think he found me. I know we did a couple of talks, then he wrote the article. I think he actually did two articles, and then I don't know, it just kind of fell off. I got busy, and then the race never happened, and then it was just kind of like,
He did 3 articles, Lindsay.
oh, three.
I
I
am
don't
I
know.
am a member of the Everyday Athlete, clubhouse. So
It's such
I
a
was
great
on there
like
reading it and I'm like, "Oh,
concept, and I
yeah." There was a couple of great things in there that I wrote down that I wanted to ask you about. One of them was you talked about how ultra marathons are an exercise in problem solving. Tell me
yes.
about that. How does that show itself and how do you deal with that, the problem solving?
I feel like every race is its own set of problems. It's a puzzle. If you approach it that way, is this race is a puzzle. It's not about just running. Like a marathon, I feel like you're going to be running and you're going to be fueling and you're going to just burn it to the ground for 4.5 hours and you're done. Ultras, it's like I could be out here for, especially if you're doing a 100 miler, I could be out here for 27 hours or 37 hours. I don't know. We'll just see what happens. And I don't know if it's going to be mashed potatoes that are going to fix my problem or coffee or banana pudding. I don't know what's going to fix my problem. What am I going to do if it starts raining? What am I going to do if, it's super cold? What am I going to do if I get blisters on my feet? What am I going to do if my cell phone dies? What am I going to, like, you have to constantly be able to problem solve your way through these races or you're out. Like that's the puzzle. That's the escape room here. You've got to be able to know yourself well enough to know. And it's not something that you can necessarily go out and train for. Like with marathons, you go out and you run your long runs and you train with your fuel that you use for every race and you know what pretty much works. With ultras, no one's going out there and running 10, 12-hour days practicing for their ultra marathon with their gear. You're not wearing that same gear for 12 hours. You're just not doing that unless you do, like I do sometimes run 50Ks to train for hundreds. Like I'll go and do a race like for that.
Yeah.
But that's it. You're not doing that on the regular. So you have to know, okay, I'm probably going to chafe today. I don't know where. It's different every time. Going to chafe today. What works for my chafing? How can I hack my way through that? Blisters. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to change your socks? Are you going to wipe your feet off? Are you going to do Vaseline? It's that it constantly being, you know, do I take a Tylenol right now? Do I take an Imodium right now? Do I ginger ale? Is that going to fix it?
Yeah.
And you get to these aid stations and they've got the spread of food. and you're looking at it and either nothing sounds good or you want it all, or I just feel like it is a constant exercise. It's more than just running. It is a mental game of understanding yourself and being able to hack yourself.
Yeah. Love that. You got a couple other things. The one other one I want to mention, and I absolutely love this. You mentioned your motto. Do you remember what it is? What you mentioned in the article? I'm gonna tell you, and I've now like one of my favorite quotes. You said my motto is burn the ships.
I have it tattooed on my arm.
No way. Tell me. I
Yeah.
love that. I absolutely love that. Tell
Yeah.
me where did that come from? What does that mean?
So the morning of my first ever ultra marathon. So I have a son who's an adult. He's almost 21. I had him when I was very, very young. The morning of my first ever ultra marathon, I stayed in a hotel room that was right at the start. My sister was with me, and that was it. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm getting up and I'm getting ready for this race, and I'm terrified. Before this 50 miler, the only distance I'd ever done was a marathon, and it was on road. The longest trail run I'd ever done was 17 miles. Had been sick with a kidney infection in my training block, and so I really didn't get trained the way I wanted to. And I was very nervous about. I had no idea. I didn't know about eating real food at races. I had Propel and peanut butter and jellies. That's what I showed up to that race with. I didn't know about how to run in a headlight. I never run in a headlight. I showed up to this race though, and I was terrified at 3 o'clock in the morning when I was getting ready, and I checked my phone and I had a text message from my then 17-year-old son. He was in high school, and it was this really long history lesson on Hernan Cortez, who not the greatest guy, but he was a conqueror.
Is he
And
the one that got rid of the Aztecs?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
Um,
anyways, that's not important.
I said not a great. That's not okay. That's not important.
I know.
So what's important is when he settled his new world, when they sailed across the ocean and they got there, and he got all his sea crewmen there with him. He told them, burn the ships. Burn the ships, because he knew that if you there was no way home, there's no turning back. You just have to the only way to do it is through it. Like, you burn the ships. There is no backwards. It's just forwards. And so my son told me, he's like, burn the ships. And I wasn't really much into history. I didn't know anything about that. I had never heard that phrase before in my life. I shared the story with my sister that morning, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. Like, burn the ships. Throughout the race, I'm running this race. I'm learning so much because I'm meeting runners right and left. Yeah. And you just learn so much from everybody. And I share with them. I'm like, well, I think my mantra for the day is going to be burn the ships, and I told them the story of my son. And throughout the day, I would find runners, and they would see me and they would yell at me, burn the ships, because they had heard me tell. And my sister yelled it to me right as I started. She yelled. I have a video of her yelling at me, burn the ships, at 5 a.m. in the dark as I'm running off. And it really got me through that race, being, yeah, burn the ships. That old life is gone. You're on to something new. And it wasn't until well after I finished the race. I didn't get this tattoo until 6 months after the race. I actually got this tattoo after running Chicago Marathon. I wanted something to kind of memorialize how my running journey had changed that year. I'd done some really big things, like running a world major and running my first ultra. And then I was like, well, that mantra, it's not just about running. Like, it really is anything you do in your life that's scary and scared. You just have to jump. You just have to leap. Yeah. Like, burn the ships. Yeah. Just full send it. And that's kind of how I live now. Yeah. Burn the ships.
I absolutely love it. I'm going to use that in the future. My motto that I have two life philosophies. One is assume positive intent. I've done podcasts on this. I'm an optimist. I just believe in the power of optimism. You can do a lot more with good than bad. My other motto mantra is leap and the net will appear. And I actually got that.
It's a lot like burn the ships.
It's kind of like burn the ships, right? Just frickin' jump. I love it. Absolutely love it. No.
I do have another mantra that I've been using ever since I finished my first 100. And it's just passionately forward is my newest one. After I did my first 100, I got a lot of questions from people who were like, okay, well, what's next? What are you going to do next? How are you going to train next? And I was like, my running journey is not over just because I accomplished this one big, great thing I've been chasing. It's always going to be running passionately forward to my next goal, or running passionately forward through these. Just keep going forward, but do it with passion, because I feel like that fuels way more than any sort of ego.
Yeah. Your posts remind me a lot of, do you know Andy Glaze?
Mm-hmm.
Smile or you're
Yeah,
doing
I
it
really like
wrong.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Just I don't know if you've heard his recent interview with Rich Roll. I don't know if you
Mm-mm.
listen to a lot of podcasts, maybe you don't, but Rich Roll, who is, a very famous podcaster, interviewed him, and man, does he have the story. His life, his addiction to drugs and alcohol, and
Yeah.
some
I heard his interview with
crazy,
Sally McRae back last year or year before. It's
yeah, crazy stuff.
mm-hmm.
But I love
Mm-hmm.
that he is now at this place where smile or you're doing it wrong, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of that way. You have a
Mm-hmm.
coach, Mr.
I
Dan England.
do.
I saw his name, I was like, is that the guy who had the song "I Really Love to See You Tonight"? But that was England Dan, so no
Yeah.
relation. I suppose he gets a lot of shit
No.
for that.
No.
How did you find? You said he's a friend of yours. How did you?
So
When did you get a coach?
TikTok.
Why? TikTok.
TikTok.
Okay.
I wasn't really seeking a coach. So two people brought me to ultra marathons. One was my friend Jen, who introduced me to them, and I said, absolutely no way will I ever do an ultra marathon. You're crazy. Then I started posting on TikTok back in 2020, at the end of 21 to 22. I did a 1 year run streak that I started by accident. Um, my in-laws were in town for the holidays, and my way of getting out of the house was, I gotta go for a run. And I'd go for a run, and before I knew it, I had run 6 days in a row, which was a personal best for me. And then I was like, I wonder if I keep this going. And I had been on TikTok as just like a phantom, I watched things, but I never really posted anything. But then I was like, I'll post a video every day of my run to keep myself consistent. And I did, and I gained followers,
Yep.
people, and not just followers, but like friends, like people who it was the same people
Yes.
interacting. And I was like, wow, this is like, there's like a whole community of
Yes.
runners on here. Like it's a thing. And he was one of them. Like consistently, cheering on you've got this, keep going. And then after I ran my third marathon during the run streak, I ran my third marathon. I put out there on social media, I'm looking for something else. I want to do something else. I'm thinking about an ultra marathon, but I don't know what I should do. And he messaged me and was like, you should do a 50 miler. Just skip the 50K. If you can do a marathon, you could do a 50K. Go big. Go do a 50 miler. And at this point, he's still not a coach, but he is an ultra runner, and he's a mountaineer out in Colorado. And I was like, okay. And I did throughout my training, I kind of bounced ideas off of him and my friend Jen, and like, what should I be doing? And then I ran my first ultra. I ran the 50, and he got certified as a coach. Because he really had a passion he's recruited a lot. There's a lot of runners on TikTok that have run their first ultra marathon. And if you ask them who got them into it, it's Dan England. And I was his first client. Once he got certified, I was like, I'll be happy to be a client, because I would not have run my first ultra marathon if it had not been for his like coaching and guidance and like the everything counts mentality. He would tell me that, because I'd get so caught up when I had this kidney infection, I can't run. He's like, no, everything counts. It's time on the feet that you're doing at work. Like all of that counts. So yeah, he got certified as a coach, and he has helped me. He makes like plans for me, but instead of it being like Monday, you do this, Tuesday, you do this, Wednesday, you do this, he does like week 1, you need to do at least this many miles, at least this many strength training days, like so that I can kind of plug them in where I need to.
Right.
Um, and he coaches, I don't know how many clients he has now, but he's coached quite a few ultra runners now, all through that he has found like on social media. And now I joke and I call him my sanity coach, because I know how to run a 100-mile race now. I've done that. I know it. He's the one though that I'm like, I think I'm going to sign up for a 200-mile race tomorrow. He's like, please stop. Don't, you're not there yet. He he keeps me from running off a bridge. Um, yeah,
All right. Love that. So this is a perfect transition. I had a little section here. I want to talk about Lindsay. You're an influencer. I don't know how. I'm sure you realize this, right? You're an influencer. I looked up
I
your
do, but then
stats.
it's like,
I'm not even on TikTok. Okay, for my audience, Lindsay, you have 27,000 followers on Instagram. You have 46,500 followers on TikTok.
yeah,
2.7 million likes. Does that ever
yeah.
hit you? How do you feel about that?
Sometimes it's oftentimes I don't really think about like when I'm creating a video and I hit post. I, I don't care. I don't care if it gets 2
Yeah.
million views. I don't care if it gets 3 views. I'm not doing it. I never started doing this for a like I accidentally started a run streak and was just doing it so that I stayed consistent and it was a way for me on the days that I didn't want to run. I'd be like, well, if I don't run, how am I going to make my video? And I like making my videos. Those are fun to do. So it was a way for me to like get out the door. Because again, I was a theater kid. I like to play on TikTok.
Yeah.
And then it started gaining traction and I met people. And the Facebook account that's growing recently, it's hilarious because I only have that page because I was a Brooks Running Collective member last year. And in order to be a part of the Brooks Running Collective, they made us create a public Facebook page that linked to our Instagram. So I was posting Instagrams and they were auto posting to Facebook and
Okay.
I didn't even really know it. And then I look at Facebook and I'm like, whoa, I have 5,000 followers on Facebook. I didn't know at first. I know now. Um, but I don't ever think about like it's not a it's never been about the follower count. It's never been about I make this much dollars on TikTok. TikTok doesn't pay me. I don't make any money on
Yeah.
TikTok. I never have that they don't it's impossible to make money on TikTok. I make even this much money on Instagram. It's like gas money maybe. You know, Facebook, I make some money on Facebook, but not what people think. Like I'm still working full-time night shift for a reason because
Yeah.
social media doesn't that's not why I'm posting. What I love though, what I'm learning that I love is I show up to these races now and people come up to me and they're like, "Oh my God, I follow you." And it makes me smile so big because it makes me realize like I started doing this because people influenced me. People brought me into this and sold me on this, and it has changed my life. And when I have people that come up to me and they're like, "Oh my God, I follow you, you inspire me. I just did my first 50K because of you." It makes me so happy
Yeah.
that wow, like it's growing, it's catching, like people are wanting to get out there and the people are feeling what I feel about these races and this just getting outside and I love it. Never been about it's not about
Yeah.
being an influencer in that respect. I like to consider myself a content creator.
Yeah.
That's what I call myself. I like to create content. That's
You
it.
you had a great post. I think it was recently, and I copied and pasted. I'm not going to read the whole thing here, but I will link to it. But basically, you say I don't make posts or share my runs or share my goals because I think I'm some sort of crazy elite perfect runner. And then you talk about how you
Hmm.
grew up playing soccer. But you say I post and share my runs because I genuinely love this sport so much, and I want to document it and share it. And I
Yes.
just love that. I think that's great. I'm going to have a link to that. Do you have any message for these 27,000, 46,000 people? Like you said, people are coming up to you. What would you tell them? What would you like to impart to them? What's your message to your fan base that is growing by the minute?
I guess I basically just want to say one, thank you for, I mean, these people, I see the same names. I want people to know that I do pay attention to the people who comment and I see you. I see the same people. I know who my people are
Yeah.
now. Like, and that's why I love this. Is it TikTok? It started as a community, and now I've been on TikTok first. That's where I started,
Okay.
and we call it Run Talk over there.
Okay.
And on Run Talk, I have now made lifelong friends who from all over the US I meet up and I do races with and I have a group chat with that I talk with every single day. we share our little runs together. Like these are my people, and I found them through social media.
Yeah.
And it's such a ultra running is such a niche sport. It is. There's so many people in our everyday life who have no idea what we do. And when I talk about it, the looks I get, it's but I can come on here, I can come on social media and I can post about my run or how good it was or how bad it was. And I have people, and oftentimes it's the same people that comment, I feel you, or I struggled with my run today, or thank you. I wouldn't have run today if you had not posted. Or I remember one time you said something about something and it made me run, or I just signed up for my first race today because of something you posted. That to me, on days that I don't feel like running, I'll think about those comments, and it's like, no, I got to get out there, man.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I want to say is just thank you. Like they fuel me too. They inspire me to keep it burning. Just keep it going. It's no, the community is what it's. I mean, that's why I run. It's the community.
Yeah. I have a small audience. I actually started on YouTube making movies because I enjoyed movies so much. And when I wanted to do a race, I'd always try to find a YouTube movie. So I started making movies. And, you and I, former actors and theater folks, we have these creative itches we have to scratch.
Yes.
And I remember the first time I showed up at a race, and granted, I have a fraction of the followers you do, but I am grateful and eternally in gratitude to my 65 loyal, listeners of this podcast, my, 1,000 or so people that watch my videos. But the first time somebody came up to me and said, I ran this race because I watched your video, it was very helpful. Or, now doing the podcast, I'm meeting people and they're like, I gaining listeners, and they're like listening all the time. And I'm always fascinated by that. So I love that. My question to you, Lindsay, is give me one or two or three influencers that you look up to, that you admire, that you follow and go, oh man, what are they going to do today? Give me one or two people that you look up to.
So Andy Glaze is like the bingo free space, right? Like,
Yeah.
of course, Andy Glaze. Love him, adore him. Callie Benson.
Oh, yes.
Callie Benson is my superhero, and I didn't get to meet her, but I did see her at Keys 100. She was there. She ran the race, and I was there crewing a runner, and I saw her running. And at first, I did speak to her crew, and I was like, I don't want to mess up her race. I know she's coming up. I don't want to mess up her race, but I just want you guys to know I'm a huge fan, and she inspires me. And I don't want to be that person. I'm not going to mess up her race, but I just want somebody to know I freaking adore Callie Benson.
Yeah.
And then a little bit later, I saw her running by, and I was just like, I just want you to know I'm your biggest fan.
I love it. Oh,
So I fangirled so hard down at Q's 100. I got to see Callie Benson. I also, of course, Rachel Incherkin that woman.
I interviewed a lady who hugged her at the finish line. So Susie Lurie was the DFL at Cocodona this year. She's a Minnesota runner. I interviewed her last week. It was a fantastic interview, and she was just just thrilled to get hugged by Rachel at the finish line. Yeah.
There's another runner. She posts on TikTok and she posts on Instagram, and I have been following her and friends with her on both platforms for probably 3 years now. She has run Cocodona 4 times. She's finished all of them. Last year she did 10 200-mile races. I crewed her or paced her for one of them, the Summit 200. Her name is Andrea Moore. She's like 48, 49 years old. She was a woman who was just a mom and a banker and an everyday average person who one day decided she wanted to do these big things, and she's done them. And I see her everyday average person doing these crazy, extraordinary things. And she definitely has played a huge part in my journey. When I see her doing these things, why not me? I would like to do them too. And I've talked with her. Like I said, I crewed her at Summit 200 last year for 30 miles. And she's just a wealth of knowledge on these things. And she has a lot of the same appreciation for it that I do. It's about like just being outside and being under the stars and being places you don't get to go to every day and getting there on your own 2 feet. But yeah, Andrea Moore is huge, and she's got maybe 10,000 or so followers on TikTok. I mean, she's growing, and I mean, her
She's
posts are always just so no
yeah.
nonsense. Like she always says this like catch where like, yeah, Linda. Like people are like, I go to work and like, how was your marathon? And she's like, I ran 200 miles.
She's like Jen when you met Jen. Oh,
Yes,
that's so
that's
cute. You're
cute. I
doing
don't really run
marathons. Oh,
marathons
that's so cute.
anymore.
Yeah, I grew out of those. That's awesome. I'm always curious what, people that have an audience, who they look up to. That makes total
Yeah.
sense. Before we get into the last section, I want to ask, so you mentioned you are a team member for Revolution Running. How did
hmm
that come about?
Honestly, I ran a couple of the races last year. They have a race. They have a race. It was my third ever ultra marathon. This is what I mean about like burning the ships. It's just kind of what I do. Um, it was called New Deal. It's a self-supported 50K and it's really like 35 miles. And my very novice ass was like, I'm gonna go run 35. I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go do this. I had only ever run two ultra marathons and they were that's it. That's all I had done. I went out there. You have to download the map to your watch. There's no markers, there's no nothing. You have to download the map to your watch. There's no aid stations. It's a 35-mile loop from your car back. You have to carry everything on your back. It was in April in Georgia. It was 83 degrees. I set out at 7:30 in the morning, all by myself, brand new runner, ultra runner. It took me 9.5 hours.
Oh,
I ran out of water at mile 27. I had a little life straw that I was like getting down on the ground and drinking out of creeks with this life straw with my very sore legs. I did not bring trekking poles. I did not have poles. I didn't know anything about a trekking pole. Um, I finished. I sat in the parking lot and sobbed because that was the hardest thing I had ever done in my entire life. But there's also that like that sweet moment of like, okay, now I want to do it again
yeah.
kind of feeling.
Look what I
Anyways,
can do.
look what I can do.
Hmm.
And anyways, the race director um, messaged me and said that because it was only for the month of April, you had the entire month to pick your day and go do it. And so that was the registration was like you had to go out there and one day do it. He let me know that I was first place female. I was also the only female to have completed the race.
Okay.
That's it. Because there were
So technically you were last place female,
I was first place female.
first place female, and you were all the positions. Yes, I love it.
And so because of that,
Wow.
I won
Wow.
entry to the Bootlegger 100. That was my prize. My prize for running was more
Ah,
running.
there you go.
And
Love
yes,
it.
so now you're seeing
Yeah.
how I ended up doing two 100-mile races
Okay.
back to back. I got entry to that race. I bumped it a year. I deferred it a year so I could do Viper 100. And then the next year I was like, well, I'm not deferring it. I'm doing both of them. Let's just get it done. And anyways, so because I had done New Deal 2 years in a row, I've now done it 3 years in a row. I've done that race, that self-supported race. Um, he reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, I'm really wanting to go back to like a team kind of concept for the Revolution Running this year. I'm trying to gather like 10 to 12 runners that really represent what our company is, and blah blah blah." And I said, "Sure." And so I get free entry to all of their races this year, and I'm, just representing the company and trying to pull in
Yeah.
runners if I can to do these races because it's an amazing ultra running company here. I mean,
Yeah.
the races that they put on are just some of the best aid stations I've ever seen at any ultras I've been to. The support is there. John was out there at Bootlegger. Every single runner that came through, he put their medal around their neck and handed. He was there. He was right there at that finish line, cheering runners in, knew them by their names. Like it's just the atmosphere it's amazing.
Yeah.
So
Love it. Two other ones I picked up in your links that you are an ambassador for Ultra Running Magazine.
yes,
How did that happen?
I applied for it.
Okay. Say,
I
was that
did.
the
I
same for
applied
the
for that one.
Ultra Spire? Is that for their vests? Ultra Spire Athlete? Was that similar?
Ultra Ultraspire, yes, I applied for Ultraspire a while ago and never really heard anything back from them. Kind of had forgotten, honestly, that I even applied. And then I got an email from them sometime in December, like, congratulations, you're an Ultraspire athlete. And I was like, oh, I got in. Um, I love the Ultraspire thing. It was something that I really desired to be a part of. I love their vests, and they're the ones that have the waist light.
Oh, yes,
Um,
yes, yep.
yes,
People swear
and
by
the
those
waist,
lights. Yeah.
they do. So when I paced Andrea Moore during Summit 200 out in Colorado, she let me borrow. She's an Ultraspire athlete.
Okay.
She let me borrow one of her waist lights, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's so much better than a headlight where you get the headache, it's bouncing on your head, but they're so expensive, and I just could never justify because again, I don't make on social media like people think I do. I
Yeah.
don't. I could never justify the expense.
Yeah.
And then when I got on with Ultraspired, I ended up getting like a huge discount. I was able to finally get my hands on one of those
Nice.
waist lights, and I love it. And it's a Facebook community too. It's a private Facebook community with the Ultraspire athletes, and we
Okay.
can all kind of talk and share and intermingle and support each other's races. And it's a good company. I
Nice.
like what they're doing.
Yeah, I've heard good things. Gonna this is the last section here. I've got so my first question is goal races. So is it the Cocodona 250? What's your next race? I also see you signed up for 2 backyard ultras. What the hell, Lindsay? What's the next chapter in, run this life? What's your next races? Your dream races, your goal races?
My dream race right now is Cocodona.
Okay.
I put in for the lottery. I find out. I want to say it's tomorrow. Either tomorrow, it's either June 1st or June 2nd. I find out if I got in. Um, I don't know if I
Okay.
got in. I mean, if I get in, if we're doing it, it's we're
All
doing.
right.
I'm gonna go. It helps that my son lives in Arizona now, and
Okay.
so if I do get in, I'm just gonna go and I visit him anyways every couple months. I want to go out there and do some runs out in the desert and kind of see what that's like. Um, if I don't get into Cocodona, I think I'm gonna throw my name in the hat for Moab.
Oh.
This is You're hearing it first here,
All right.
because it's a
Exclusive.
lottery.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lottery. So if I don't get into Cocodona, I think I'm going to go for Moab, which would be in October of 2027. So Cocodona will be in May of 2027. Moab is in October.
Yep.
In the meantime, I am doing my first ever backyard ultra. There's like a 12-hour run I'm doing in June. That's kind of like a backyard ultra,
Okay.
kind of last man standing-ish. But then my right now, my A race is the last man standing. It's last Mamba standing in Memphis. It's put on by the same people who did Viper, Jason Bowler. Um, this is a completely different style of running. I've never done anything like this before where there is no finish line. You just go until you can't anymore. It's all mental fortitude. I mean, physical too, but mental. Um, just to see, I don't know. I don't know what I can do. Will I time out at 100K? Can I maintain that pace? I mean, I really don't know. If people ask me, am I a slow runner or a fast runner I don't know because sometimes I can be fast, and sometimes I'm slow. I don't know. I don't know. I think this race will give me a lot of like, I just want to see what I can do. Um, I am also looking at doing another 100 this year in the fall or winter. I haven't picked one yet, but I see another 100 before the end of the year.
Okay. Very good. Do you like to run only? Most of your stuff is you're posted outside. Do you only run outside? You ever run on a treadmill? I do a lot of treadmill myself. Just
So
cause.
I go back and forth. If you scroll through all my stuff over the years, you'll see I have eras where it's like, oh my God, this chick only runs on a treadmill. And then I have eras where it's like, oh my God, this chick like, she's not even in Georgia. Where is she at? She's in a different place all the time. And then it's like, oh, she's only ever running outside, or she only ever runs at night. I think I'm about to enter a new era, having just moved. I definitely will still be running on my trail a lot because I'm still very close to my trail. I will be running on that just as much as ever. But my runs before work are going to change. I think, unfortunately, those will be more treadmill runs
Okay.
because part of the ebb and flowing that I do is I will probably be going day shift every other week, which is a
Mm,
new thing for me. I work night shift, and I'm just trying to navigate running before work versus after work. And right now I run before work. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get up and run at 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning outside before work without waking my dogs and waking my
yeah.
kids and waking my house and versus just hopping on the treadmill at 4 o'clock, 5
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning right there in my garage. So
Yeah.
that's at least twice a week that I probably will be doing treadmills, but I'm kind of looking forward to it in a weird way because I tend to really, I miss when I used to run on the treadmill. I would do my intervals and speed days, or I would do incline and do hill work on it. I make it fun. Like you just
Yeah.
make it those. I'm never going to get on a treadmill and just run 12 miles flat on a treadmill. No, that's outside.
No.
But you can have fun on a treadmill. They can be fun.
I do 90% on the treadmill. I have a iFit Nordic Track treadmill and I love it.
Hmm.
Like today
That's what I
I was
have. Yeah.
watching a show on, Prime and on my treadmill
Hmm.
doing hill inclines. I gained 2,000 feet and then I did a
Hmm.
little run with Tommy Rivs to kind of cool
Yeah.
down. I love the treadmill. So don't feel bad.
I won't hate on a treadmill,
Yeah.
but there is just something about getting lost in the woods.
Oh
And
yeah.
all of a sudden, you just look down and you're like, I can't believe I just did 4 miles.
Yeah, that's true. That's why we run outside. Do you listen to music when
Hmm.
you run or is it just
It depends.
okay?
If I'm on a trail, um, I usually only have one headphone in, and there have definitely been times that I start my run and I'm like 3 miles in and I'm like, I never even turned on my music.
Yeah.
Um, if I'm running on road, oftentimes I am listening to music because I need the distraction because
Mhm.
I don't love running around the neighborhood. Or I'm talking on the phone. I find people
Oh
that
yeah.
I'm very busy, and a lot of times the time that I have to catch up with people, or I mean, I think I even asked you
You
about like, can I
did.
do this while
I
I'm running?
know. Sure.
Uh,
That would have been a
because
first.
that's when I get a lot of
Yeah.
my like
Love it.
stuff done is I talk on the phone while I run.
Okay.
And sometimes I have friends that are running at the same time and we talk on the phone while we're running together.
I would, but it would be like, how you doing? How-
It makes a really good though, like recovery run. Like
Yeah.
it makes you slow down and do those like slow miles that sometimes we let our ego get in the way that we are
Yeah.
like, oh my God. But like no, those runs matter.
It all counts. It
Yeah,
all as you say, it all counts. So
it all
do you have
counts.
pets, dogs? I'm a dog
I
person.
do.
My wife and I
I
don't
have
have
a
kids.
cat. She's sitting right here.
Oh, I
This
have a
is
black cat too, named
that's
Coco.
Kiwi.
Okay.
And then I have two dogs. I have Lumen. She's a German short hair pointer. She's
Okay.
6 years old. I've been running with her since she was a baby.
Okay.
And then I have Ivy. She's a $50 rescue pound puppy.
Yeah.
She's like 2 years old now. She likes to run. She's a lot more of I would consider her more of an ultra runner, and Lumen, my GSP, is more of a sprinter.
Sprinter. Okay.
Yes,
All
Ivy
right.
can slow, plug it along, stop, eat a snack, let's keep going. Lumen is all gas, as fast as she can go, as hard as she
Okay.
can get. If I'm doing a speed workout, I take Lumen with me. If I want to go run 12 miles, I take Ivy. I don't always run with them. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It depends. A lot of times it's the weather. If it's hot in their paws, I can't run on trail with them. I've tried multiple times, and every time I do, I twist my ankle on a root, and so I don't run on trails with my dogs,
Yeah.
and it makes me sad because I love to run on trails with my dogs. But every time I've done it, I've gotten injured, so I
Okay.
don't do it.
Do you have any hobbies besides running significant that you do?
I like to paint and draw.
Okay.
Um, I scuba dive sometimes.
Oh, in
I haven't done it in about a year, but I do like to dive.
is there areas in Georgia? Or I don't know if you're on the coast or where
No,
you are. Do
I go
you have
down
to
to
travel
Florida.
somewhere to go? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and I like to travel. I like to go travel to new places and meet
Okay.
people that and run races with people. I've done races in Colorado. I've done races I did Relay Iowa. I've done There are a couple races in Colorado. I've been out to Seattle, all through people I've met
Yeah.
online.
There is, and maybe you know this, there's some great trail races up here in the Midwest, in Minnesota,
Hmm.
Iowa, you
Hmm.
mentioned, Wisconsin. In Minnesota, one of the big 100-mile race is the Superior 100. Everybody's run
Hmm.
this race from Courtney to Walter. Of course, Courtney's from here. Her mom, I see her mom occasionally at some of the races around here. But
Hmm.
the Superior 100, it's a lottery. It's tough to get into, but
Oh, okay.
that's one for you to look at if you want. It's 20,000 feet of gain. It's a 38-hour cutoff,
Okay.
and it's one of these races where you have to problem solve. If
What
you,
time of year is it?
it is in the fall. It's usually
Okay.
mid September, late September, I think. But
Okay.
it's one of those races where 38 hours sounds like a lot.
Nope.
Nope.
I am one of those people that when you tell me it's got a long cutoff, there's a
There's a
reason. There's a
reason.
reason. There's no freebies.
Nope, there's no freebies. Before I get to my very
Mm-mm.
last thing I do, The Pit. So I was going to ask you if you have
No,
favorite
yeah.
TV shows. So tell me, you're a nurse, The Pit. My wife and I love that show. Is it
Pretty accurate.
realistic? Do you like the show?
It is. I do like the show. Sometimes I can only watch it in small doses because it's a little too realistic. It's
Really?
very, oh yeah, and I've heard this from other people like that I work with, like a lot of the people I work with, and we're all the kind of the same way. We're like, it's a little triggering almost. It's a little too real. If I watch like more than two episodes in a row, I'm like, I feel like I'm back, I'm at work. I'm not, it's not letting me decompress. I gotta turn
Yeah.
it off. I really like that the show doesn't do like music. It's all
Yeah.
the sounds of like what's really in healthcare that's the phone's ringing, you're trying to handle a very serious crisis, and then someone's tapping on the glass asking for a cup of water. That's life. That is exactly what it's like. Um, no, this show is so real. It's too
Okay.
real.
All right. That's what we
Yeah.
thought. And we have some
Yeah.
other friends that are in, currently in the medical industry and they've kind of said the same thing. It just seems chaotic. And this season when they lost all of their electronic
Oh
stuff,
my
I was
gosh.
like, "Oh my god, what I'm sure
Yeah.
we all depend upon that."
It's
And
frustrating on night shift because
oh,
that's when a lot of the hospitals do their like software reboots and stuff is during night. And so it's nothing for us to have like downtime, scheduled downtime from like 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. or 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. weekly.
yeah.
And it's chaos every time. It's as if we don't do this weekly.
Yeah. Looking at my notes, make sure I've got, oh, yeah, I wrote down everything counts. I wrote down,
Mhm.
you had this post on Instagram. I think it's one of your pinned posts where you talk about what it takes to run ultras, 3 scoops of crazy, four's too much, two's not enough. I'm going to probably have some of that in the show notes. I freaking love that. So, the last thing, Lindsay, I want to be respectful of your time, and I know you're busy and you just
Yeah.
moved and everything going on. The last thing I do, this came from Graham, who is a listener in Ireland. He gave me this idea,
Oh.
so I always try to give him credit for it. I end these with 5 favorite pieces of gear.
Mhm.
So you tell me your 5 favorite pieces of gear that you have to have with on a trail run or a run.
Okay. Um, I definitely have to have my vest. I love my Ultra Spire Zygos 6.0 vest.
Okay.
And with the bladder, sometimes I have the flasks. I prefer the bladder.
You do. Okay.
I prefer my bladder.
Okay.
The flasks bouncing around drives me nuts.
Okay.
And that's with any vest I've ever worn.
Yeah.
I carry them, but I hate them. Um,
All right.
I like to go to places like Five Below or Target or wherever you can find like the like travel size stuff. I get the travel size Vaselines or Aquaphor,
Okay.
like the little ones, and I put those in my vest. I've tried Squirrel's Nut, all that other stuff. I've tried it all. Vaseline and Aquaphor have been what I have found work the best, and they're the most affordable, and they
Okay.
work just as well. So I
Okay.
keep those in my vest at all
That's
times.
that's 2.
Um, Definitely my trekking poles, and
Mm.
I kind of get a lot of comments on the way I use my trekking poles. Because I 9 times out of 10, if you see me with my poles, I'm only using one.
Oh,
I
okay.
like to carry just one pole. I'll have the other one in my vest maybe, I run with one pole so that I have a free hand. I alternate hands back and forth. So my hand doesn't get tired. Usually I just need the one. I
Okay.
just need, and I feel like two slows me down, one speeds me up.
Well, you know, Michael Jackson only had one glove, so I
You
guess,
know?
right? There you
But
go.
every single time I come into an aid station, it's like, where's your other pole? Did you lose your other pole? Nope. I just want the one. I just want the
Just
one.
one
I'm a
pole,
content
okay?
creator. I need a free hand to make
That's
videos.
exactly. Hello. So
um,
that's three.
um,
Two more.
let's see. Um, oh, it's so I have this. It's a fanny pack.
Yeah.
It's a Kavu brand little fanny pack. I run in it all the time, whether it's a 2 mile little run, trail run, race day. I'm traveling. If I have it as a shoulder bag, I've lived in this thing for 2.5 years, and it's just a little Kavu fanny pack. But I love it on race days because I can put my phone in it and a battery, and it can charge, and that's definitely a favorite. Um,
That's
it took me a
four.
while to find something, yeah,
That were, yeah.
um, and
Okay.
I have to say it, my Garmin.
There it is.
It's my Garmin. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm a nurse. I'm a numbers nerd.
Yeah.
I like the trends. I like the numbers. That's just who I am.
I do too, and it's funny. Me and my friends that are also kind of back of the Packers. I mean, we always are like, yeah, we don't care how fast, and we just want to finish. But then we do talk about paces. We talk about, well, how did you
Yeah,
do? I don't know, it was a 15-minute pace. It was a 20-minute pace or whatever.
yeah,
So I do like my numbers.
yeah.
Would you ever leave your watch at home and just do a run? Or
I have.
would you literally like, if you're in your car 2 minutes from home, you don't have your watch, would you turn around and go get it?
No, I've definitely gone for runs where, because
Okay.
again, I'm type B.
Okay.
I have definitely started runs where my battery is 3%. And I'm like, well, it's probably not going to catch this one. That's okay. And
Yeah.
I just got like, sometimes now a race, if I'm running 100 miler, it better, it, it better catch it. Um,
Okay.
yeah, because then like, what's the point?
Yeah.
No, and once upon a time, I did run without a watch. I
Yeah.
trained for my first half marathon without a watch.
Yeah.
You know, once upon a time, it was map my run on my phone or,
Yep.
counting the street blocks and just knowing where I'm at.
Yeah, I did. ASICS had an app. Was that Map My Run? ASICS had an app for the phone. I don't.
It might have
I don't know if it was Map
been,
My Run or if it was called something else. I don't remember, but
and I
that's what I
liked
used to use.
Nike. No, I did the Nike
Yeah.
guided runs.
Yeah.
Those, when I was a brand new baby runner, those guided runs, I don't even know if they still exist, but that was a game changer. Yeah.
Well, this has been absolutely delightful. I was so surprised when you responded. And like, I
Yeah.
reached out last year to Tim Tollison and he responded right away. And he's like, yes, I will do your podcast. I'm like, dude, I said you didn't have to. Did you not get
Yeah.
that
No,
sentence? So I appreciate you coming on. This is going to be a
of
real
course.
treat for my listeners. And
Yeah.
I'll have links to a lot of the stuff we talked about in the show notes and everything like that. So.
Okay.
All right. Well, good luck with the move. Get some,
Thanks.
rest. Are you working tomorrow? You working tonight?
I do. I work Monday and Tuesday.
All right. So
Yep.
get some rest. Thank you.
Back to the grind. From the grind.
There you go. All right, Lindsay. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Lindsay Teague, what a treat to have you on the pod. Just keep burning those ships and passionately moving forward because you, my friend, are doing great things and inspiring so many people. No matter what you're going through or how difficult the challenge, you are bringing the positivity and showing that we are all capable of amazing things and that running is and should be fun. Andy Glaze? Please, he's got nothing on you. I look forward to watching your followers and fans continue to grow. As always, I'll have links in the show notes to some of the things we talked about. And hey, if you like the podcast, please show the love with a follow, a rating, a review, or a comment. I mean, I know I'm no Linz, but it all helps to grow the pod. Well, that's it for this time. Until next time, cheers and take care of yourselves. Keep running, keep walking, keep moving forward with passion. Might not seem like a lot, but it all counts, and you will cross that finish line.